Hi everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Mental Brew, conversations on high performance. And today we have Emmet Brennan, Irish Olympian, professional boxer and business owner. Emmet, how are you?
I'm all good. Bit of a stressful week. So as I said, business owner there, opening my own gym at the moment. On top of that, I was supposed to have my second professional fight and that got called off. I suppose I like to take the positives from things so I can just sort of put all my energy into getting the gym up and running this week. But yeah, stressful week.
Brilliant.
Stressful
And
week.
I kind of reached out to you, I think it was the last week. I knew you had your fight coming up. And then I kind of went to check the results and obviously saw that the fight had been cancelled. That must have been fairly frustrating considering, like, I'd imagine you had maybe a 2 or 3 month camp going into it, focus on, I suppose, getting to where you want to go in terms of your goals. That must have been fairly frustrating.
Yeah, so I had an 8-week camp coming into it, and I suppose you can look at it as frustrating, but there's lots of positives in it as well because like I got injured after the Olympics and I was out for near enough 2 years I was injured for. So for me coming back, it's after taking a long time to get to where I was pre-Olympics.
Yeah.
And in this training camp, we actually felt like we were making strides with progression. I thought I was probably 70 to 80% back to where I was pre-Olympics. So it's a bit of a bummer that I don't get to display that this
Yeah.
weekend, but you take the positives from it. We got a great training camp in and we are getting back to where we are performance was pre-Olympics, which for me is it's great.
Brilliant. And I actually saw the clip you put up on, I think it was a Twitter or Instagram. It was the 10 minutes after you found out the fight was cancelled and you're just working the heavy bag. As you said, it was just, okay, my fight might be off, but I'm still training, I'm still focusing.
Yeah, so what happened there was I only got told at about 1:45 last Friday that the
Yeah.
fight is off. Well, I got told there's a 99% chance that the fight is off. There's a slight chance that things might go a different way, but as far as we knew at that time, the fight was off, and I had training at 2 anyway, so you have two choices:
Yeah.
say to hell with this, or else go home and go to training and continue to improve. So I went with the latter, which I always do, and yeah, I got a good session in. This week I'm still training, but the load has lessened a little bit, and
Yeah.
I've been able to put me focus a little bit more in the gym, which I wouldn't have been able to do at all this week. So yeah, you just got to take the positives in a bad situation, I suppose, and roll with the punches.
Brilliant. And just to bring you way back now, how did you get into boxing? Where did the love of the sport come from? What was your kind of first experience of it?
So my father boxed when he was young. In terms of how good he was, I don't actually know, but I know he boxed right up until he was about 14, 15. So it was in the family a little bit, and then a friend of his is the coach in St. Saviour's, which is the first club I joined. So I was very, very close with Jimmy, he was. So
Hmm.
Jimmy was always asking me to come up. I was soccer mad as a kid, never
Yeah.
really wanted to go up. But then I remember an instance where I wasn't getting bullied, but I was playing football and I got a punch. If this was after the match, I got a punch in the back of the head or something. And I just started crying. I didn't retaliate because I just sort of it was like that fight or flight.
Yeah.
I went into flight mode and I panicked and I didn't know what to do. And my father was just like, right, we'll bring you down to the boxing club and see if you enjoy it. And if you've ever been in a boxing club, especially St. Saviour's is very, very similar to the old Rocky movies.
Okay.
It's an old club. In Dublin terms, it's a bit of a kip.
Okay.
The smell of sweat, the moisture on the wall, the heat of the gym. I got hooked on it from the day I walked in, and very, very soon soccer went to the back of my mind, and boxing became my sole sport.
Unbelievable. And I suppose when did you figure out yourself that you had talent? Because obviously at some stage, like you're boxing away from say an early age, And then when does the idea of maybe the dream of the Olympics come, or is it kind of like I'm just going to fight in kind of local events to kind of move way up? I suppose the ladder, or if you get me, when did that kind of come?
Yeah, so in Ireland, as an amateur, you have to win the Irish title to go on to the national team.
Okay.
And I was never good enough to do that. So I didn't go on to the national team until I was 25. So
Okay.
it took me 15 years to get onto the national team, and obviously a lot happens in that 15 years.
Yeah.
So as a kid, not that I wasn't talented, I was talented, but I was never number one. I was always number two or number three. I was always an incredible hard worker, always one of the first in at training and the last out. Loved the sport, loved the whole ethos of the independence. You got out what you put into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, talent and technical ability does come into that as well. But I always knew if I kept on working and kept on pushing the barriers, I'd get that a little bit closer year by year. I suppose as a kid, I used to get to the All Ireland final every year and get beaten in the final, and I suppose that just it instilled something in you that winning can't. Um, you know, you're tasting defeat, and it makes you a little bit hungrier because you
Yeah.
want to get better and you want to get better every year. And as I said, it's a bit obviously you have your coaches around you, but it is an independent sport. You do sort of get out what you put into it. So I knew to change my fate to winning All Ireland, it was down to me. It was down to no one else. So I chipped away year after year after year after year. And once you go 18, you go out of the youth ranks, you go up to senior ranks. As a senior, you got three levels. You got novice, which is for people that are brand new into the sport. You got intermediate, which is for people that are at medium level, and then you got elite, which is the name is in the term. It's for elite boxers. It's for the top of the pile in the country and in the world. So when I got to age 20, I wasn't good enough for elite, but I was thereabouts at intermediate level, and I won my first national title age 20. So it took me 10 years to get that. And I had two dreams when I came into the sport. One was to be a national champion, two was to be an Olympian. So that was the first one ticked off the box. Although I wasn't at elite level, I was still a national champion. And I remember I'm a strange, not that I'm a strange person, but the feeling of winning satisfies me. I always
Yeah.
want more. I
Okay.
always want more. And I think a lot of top performers are very, very like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the feeling of defeat or the feeling of something negative plays in your mind over and over and over. And as it did when I lost the All Ireland finals year after year after year after year, I'd wake up the next morning, I'd go straight back to training, and I'd want to get better and come back next year and win. But I remember winning the first All Ireland title. Now it took me 10 years to win that.
Yeah.
And the next morning I was like, right, that hasn't really satisfied me. I need to go on and win an elite title. I need to go on and become an Olympian. Now I was only 20, 21 at that time. I suppose the year later I won another national title, the national under 22 title. So it still wasn't an elite title, but yeah, getting there and you're getting closer to the final goal. I suppose I was age 22 then. The likes of partying came in, the going out and having to get a job, and you have to bring in an income. And I went away from the sport for 2 years.
Okay.
I was never fully out of it. I was never fully in it. I was, as I said, I was enjoying being in my young 20s. I was enjoying going to the pub, the nightclubs. I was doing the trade and plumbing at the time, so I didn't have much time for training. And the time I did have a training, you're not really fully there because you're after coming in after a 12-hour shift on site. Yeah, jaded. So I spent the next 2 years where I was just I was in and out of the sport, and I suppose I got to a point where I was very unhappy in my life. A point where there was a lot of depression and a lot of negative thoughts in my head. And the only thing that I ever really felt that I was good at was boxing. So it was the only thing that really gave me purpose in life. And I suppose 24 going on to age 25, yeah, I was in a very, very bad place mentally. And I was like, "Do you know what?" And I hated my job. I hated plumbing.
Yeah.
I was in my 4th year as an apprentice, and I'd never won that senior elite title, which I wanted to win,
Yeah.
and the national title. I'd never won that. And I said, "You know what? It's make or break now. I'm gonna go back to the sport. I'm gonna give this everything." I knew it was too late to go. So it was 2015, 2016 when I went back. I
Yeah.
knew it was too late realistically to make the 2016 Olympic team.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I was a million miles away from that anyway.
Mm.
I never won a fight in the senior elites, so
Yeah.
that was sort of out of the picture. But I was like, if I put my mind to it, I can go on a crazy journey over the next 5 years and see how far I can push my body, how
Yeah.
far I can push my mind, and try becoming an Olympian. Now, bear in mind, I'd never even won a fight at elite level. I'd
Yeah.
never won a national title at elite level. I've never been on an Irish team, and I was 25.
Yeah.
So I can't. The only way I can sort of describe that is like, say, Leash or someone like that, saying they're gonna go out and in the next 2 or 3 years they're gonna win the Sam Maguire.
Okay.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
they're gonna compete for the Sam Maguire. That's, if I want to put that in the Gaelic terms, that's probably similar to what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was, for everyone else, it was a completely unrealistic goal. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go all in on this.
Yeah.
Quit my job. So I quit the apprenticeship. I hated it anyway. So people are saying, "Oh, you're taking a risk, this, that, and the other." I hated getting up and going to work. So that wasn't much of a risk. But
Yeah.
I suppose the uncertainty of having no money coming in, signing on to the social welfare, and just going all in, and it ended up being one hell of a journey. So I suppose 6 months after going all in, um, I entered the national elite title, the national elites. Bear in mind, I was 25, going on 26, and I'd never even won a fight in this competition before,
Yeah.
and I was hell bent that I was going to win this. And I suppose the big difference between before and now was I was going into these championships with the mindset that I was going to win them. I
Yeah.
wasn't going into the mindset where I wanted to win a fight or I wanted to compete. I was solely going in there to win these championships,
Yeah.
and had 3 tough fights in the championships, and I won them.
Unbelievable.
Age 25, as I said, never really competed at this level before, and that got me onto the national team. So that got me onto the national elite setup out in Abbottstown, where you're
Yeah.
around the best boxers in the world, the best athletes in the world, the best support team, the best coaches, um, going away to international training camps, going away to international competitions. But I knew when I got onto that team, I knew one, I was going to be the worst on the team because
Okay.
I'd never boxed at this level. And I knew two, most people that got onto that team got onto it at like 17, 18, 19. So I
Mm.
knew I had a big gap to close. But I say, I always think rationally, and I think, how can I improve and how can I sort of make a good impression on the coaches and a good impression on the team. I only seen something on LinkedIn this morning. It was it's, if you're in a company or in whatever sport, always be like a nice person, because it's hard to go around with people that aren't nice people, and it'll stop you from getting opportunities and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I went in and it was very, very good, because there was 2 other people in my way.
Yeah.
Now the 2 other people in my weight were only 18, 19. So I had 6 years of maturity on these lads,
Yeah.
and technically they were a lot better than me. So
Yeah.
this is fast forward a year. I'm on the team a year now.
Yeah.
There's 2 lads there that they're a lot better than me. They've won medals at world and European competition at youth level that changed into senior. But I knew maturity was, I knew they were going to mess up along the way. I knew they were going to like
Yeah.
go drinking or mess up with the coaches or turn up the training late and miss training late. And I remember writing down a list of what I need to do to sort of get one over on these lads, or when a chance comes, the coaches might pick me over them. So I used to turn up to training every morning. I used to be there 45 minutes early. So I was the first
Brilliant.
person at training. Now,
Oh,
I wasn't actually training. I just got there early, made sure I was well prepared
yeah,
for the training session. But Bernard Dunn, he was our manager at the time, and Zara and Nadia was the head coach. They used to always be in at that time anyway. So they would see me being the first
yeah,
person in
yeah, yeah,
every single morning. Now, I wouldn't do it every morning, but maybe twice a week I'd go in and shake the hand and introduce myself to them, just so they
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
see
yeah,
me.
yeah,
The other 2 or 3 mornings, they'd see me anyway. So that was number one. Number two, small little things was doing me activation and stuff before training so I didn't get injured.
mm,
Making sure I warmed up correctly. Again, the coaches, they see this. They see someone that's talking in line when they're
mm,
warming up and they're looking out the window or they're looking up or they're looking
yeah,
at their fingernails or whatever. I was zoned in straight away. And if you're doing this consistently, one, you're improving, but two, the coaches obviously see your work ethic and what you're putting into it.
yeah,
Um, and then three was just be a good teammate. Don't
brilliant.
be don't bring a bad atmosphere into the group.
Yeah,
Again, the coaches see this, the the athletes themselves see this. So maybe people talk outside the training.
yeah,
They might be saying, Emmet's good, or he brings a good vibe to the group, or whatever it is. Them three things I just done consistently over the next 3-4 years. Obviously, put a lot of work into training as well, and my mindset. And yeah, eventually went on to become an Olympian. So, I suppose if you want to take something small from that, it's like the small little things matter. People
yeah,
when they're looking for change or they're looking for get better, like second, yourself, someone wants to lose weight, they go on the Atkins diet or
mm,
they look for what's in at the moment. But if you start off with small little things like making sure you're getting enough sleep so you're in good mood the next day, make
yeah,
sure you drink enough water so you're hydrated and you're not actually you think you're hungry instead of thirsty. The
yeah.
small little steps, that's what lead to big changes and big goals being accomplished.
And so, would it be fair to even say you controlled your controllables?
I control my controllables, and I do me
Yeah,
even now since I've left the national team and gone professional. I do I do everything possible to control the controllables, and that's
yeah,
not down to only physical things. It's mentally. Like this week, as we said, the fight got called off.
yeah,
I could sit at home and mope about it and feel down and say, why me? Or else I can actually put that energy into the gym now because that's something
yeah,
I can control. I
yeah,
didn't have this I didn't have this free space this week. I thought it was going to be in preparation for the fight. But
yeah.
now I have this free time. I'm literally just going all in on the gym this week. And that's going to take a bit of stress out of me over the next 2 weeks before it opens.
Yeah, and I doing the research for this, reading and looking at as much things as I could. The one thing that I've seen, and you obviously mentioned now already, is mindset.
Hmm.
So, like, how important to you is, I suppose, that positive mindset and just bringing that mindset out to the ring, right? So, say now you're fighting Dennis Lorden, right? So now you're not going to have
Hmm.
it's not going to be an easy fight for you now, Emma, right? We call it spade a spade. But if you're looking at an opponent, right, you'll have done your own research on him. So strengths and weaknesses. So you're extremely confident going into the fight. But maybe that first round or two, the opponent surprised you. How do you stop the negative thoughts kind of coming in then? Like, oh my God, he's way quicker than I thought, or he's a lot stronger than I thought. How do you stop those negative thoughts coming in that would affect your performance within the fight?
Yeah, so I'm naturally a calm person anyway. I'm quite laid back
Okay.
in some circumstances in life, and when you have that, when you're sort of that person, it's a lot easier to analyze things and quickly change them. So I go back to the 2019 Elite Final. So this was my second national elites that I won. We had a game plan to go out and fight. We were fighting a lad called Thomas O'Toole, very good boxer, really tall, fast, rangy. But like that, before the fight, we analysed his strengths and his weaknesses. Um, for me, it was very, very crucial for anyone that knows boxing was to not punch from our distance
Mm.
because he had a reasonable reach advantage on me.
Mm.
And I suppose the very first round, I done the exact opposite. Punch from out of distance. Didn't take up the space as I was punching. Was throwing the wrong punches, and he won the first round quite easy.
Yeah.
We went back to the corner. The natural thing to do was panic and really look for your coach for advice and not actually take her in because you're in panic mode.
Yeah.
I went back, took me deep breaths, listened to exactly what the coach told me. We went back over the game plan to what we had said right before the fight, and almost instantly just took that in,
Yeah.
remain calm, and applied it.
Brilliant.
Now it's about get yourself a situation of calmness under pressure,
Mm.
because we've all done it where we become under pressure and we scream at someone.
Yeah.
We make the situation a little bit worse. Now, avoiding going back to that corner after that round, and as I said, me panicking and me clutching at me coach for advice. The likelihood is I would not have taken that advice in, and in the second round I would have done exactly what I done in the first round,
Yeah.
because I was a round down and I was reaching after this fight. But if you can remain calm in circumstances like this, the likelihood is your next step is going to be a better step than what you would take if you're really feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
So it's about just trying to stay calm. And if you want to talk about stuff outside of the boxing ring, which is life, which is probably more important, we've all we've all had a boss that screams at us or
Yeah.
talks down to us. Who really takes anything positive from someone screaming at you or reacting in a bad way? If
Yeah.
someone talks to you in a calm way or they're a little bit more mellow, you're more than likely going to take their advice on and listen to them and apply it going forward.
And I suppose kind of a natural segue here, as you mentioned, the boss and the screaming. So you're obviously opening up your own gym. You're going to be the boss. What kind of boss do you want to be? What do you want your staff to say about you? And have you even thought about what kind of culture you want around your business and associated with your brand?
Yeah, so there's me and two friends have gone in, so there's three of us
Brilliant.
in the gym. It's a boxing gym, so Dave, I suppose in him, I'll just go a little bit into who I've opened
Yeah.
with. Jordan Moore, he's a 6-time national champion. Very technically gifted at boxing.
Mm.
Had a lot of hard luck with injuries and stuff like that. So what we're going to offer in terms of boxing is we're offering a high caliber elite coaching, and we're offering this to, I suppose, if you're 17, 18, 19 and you want to take up boxing either for a sport or as a hobby, no boxing club in Ireland really wants to know you, because they want to put the time into 9, 10, 11 year olds that can go on and become Irish champions or maybe just play a positive role in their life.
Mm.
But once you get to 17, 18, 19, no club really wants you because they don't have the time or the
Yeah.
coaches to put into you. So we've seen a gap in the market there that it's sort of like white collar boxing or adult boxing. Now
Yeah.
we offer various classes, so there's non-contact classes for people that just want to come in and use boxing for fitness.
Yeah.
They don't want to take the hits because
Yeah.
not everyone's in it to actually take the hits. And they just want to meet new people and enjoy something different. So
Yeah.
that's one aspect to it. Then the other aspect is the actual competition and learning how to box, to spar, and to fight. And if I was going into the new gym, we can eventually have fight camps that there'll be like a white collar fight
Class.
at the end of it. So that's me and Jordan. We both boxed on the Irish team. We both been coached by the best coaches in the world. We both fought for Ireland over 20 times. We've like a combined 40 years of experience in the game.
Wow.
So there's not what we're offering, even amateur clubs are offering to people. So it is unbelievable in terms of what we're going to offer. And then I suppose the long term vision, it's called FightR. So we can sort of combat into other combat sports.
Wow. Brilliant.
The other lad we have there, Eric, he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So he's gonna be a brown belt very, very soon. So potentially in the next 2 years, we're going to angle into jiu-jitsu and maybe go into MMA or something like that. So we're also offering like striking classes for MMA fighters. We have one or two lads that come over to us. Gary Rooney, he's making his professional debut at the end of the month. So that's somewhere else where we can go into. And then I suppose on top of that, we're looking to get into the corporate world. So that's why I'm quite active on the LinkedIn lately.
Yeah.
Because it is actually it's a business. And corporate companies are looking to get into wellness and offer their employees something different. So why not learn how to box? But going back to the question of what would I like to be as a boss? So as I said, I'm quite a calm person. I'm laid back. But it's a business. So like and as I said, going back to what I was like on the Irish team, I was there 40 minutes early. I was well prepared. I like to communicate well with people. That's what I expect of my employees. I don't expect people to turn up 5-10 minutes late, not have a class plan out, not interact with the members of a gym, because the whole thing that we want around their gym is a community.
Yeah.
The members can come and talk to us. The members can, like, we put on community days, we put on fights in the gym, we have community nights out and stuff like that. So
Brilliant.
I want all my employees to interact with the community and sort of be with the ethos of the gym. Now, in terms of the employees that we're taking on, they're all going to be national level fighters.
Well,
So I've worked for one or two boxing companies before in Dublin, and we're out putting them down really. That level of coaching was terrible. So
okay.
they've had people that box for like 8 weeks, teaching other people how to box. It's like me going into a rugby club after taking it for 2 months and coaching people.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that way. You need to have your skin in the game. You need to
Yeah.
you need to box at a high level. So we're only going to take on national level fighters to coach for fighter. But what comes with that is they've already learned the timekeeping. They've
Yeah.
already learned to be prepared for
Very true.
training. They've already learned the skill set and the mindset that you need that crosses over to being an employee. So I'm hoping that I don't have to force at all, because the people that I take on, they're going to know what it takes to be a high level boxer. High
Yeah.
level boxer has very, very similar traits to a high level employee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
And
no one, go
sorry, go
ahead.
on. No, go on.
Like no one really gets to the highest level of boxing by turning up to training late, by having a bad attitude,
Yeah.
by not listening to their coaches. The three things that you need to be a good employee, you
Yeah.
need to be a good boxer. So there's a good crossover between sports and work life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. It's the crossover between, I suppose, performance or high performance in sport to business is unbelievable. And just, I've one other question along the part of picking the right people. So obviously now as a professional fighter, your goal is to be a world champion. I think you mentioned the Celtic champion, Irish champion.
Mm.
How important for you getting the right people around you in terms of your teams, like your S&C coach, your sports psych, your nutritionist? And I suppose, would you take time in picking those people, or are you kind of lucky, I suppose, you'd already have the kind of contacts, or what way would it work for you?
Yeah, so I already have the contacts, and I've great strength and conditioning coach and stuff like that. But I suppose in terms of picking me management, so I went professional 2 years after the Olympics, and I mentioned I was injured for a large part of that, but I also had like 6 to 8 months to pick who was going to be my manager. I'll go
Yeah.
out and look for a manager, and I suppose I was at the mindset where if I didn't get the right manager, I probably actually wouldn't have gone into professional boxing, because
Okay.
professional boxing it's a very, very tough game, as in people position, whereas you're making other people money, so and they're
Yes.
dealing with a lot of the money, so you can be very, very easily led astray, and people can, I suppose, take advantage of that. So
Yeah.
I went off and I got Darren Barker, who was a former world champion, and he's probably one of the most respected men in the game. So he's my manager, him along with Joe Calzaghe, who was a former world champion himself. So I've two world champions going in my career.
Brilliant.
Again, it took me 8 months to get to them. I had met 3 or 4 people previously to them, and I almost signed with one of the lads that I met previously before that. I just went with my gut feeling and I didn't sign. I was a day away from signing with him, and something just wasn't adding up for me. And strangely enough, on that day that I decided, I said, no, you know what, this isn't for me. I got in contact with Darren Barker, who's my manager now. Just a little bit by luck, a little bit by fate. And as I said, he works with Eddie Hearn, he works with all the top promoters in the world.
Yeah.
He was a former world champion, the most respected guy in boxing. So I'm not going to say lucky because I've worked this hard to get here.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very privileged to have a man like him guiding my career. And then I suppose the rest of my team, it's about trust. So I'm still training with my amateur coaches at the moment because I trust them. They got me to the Olympics, so I train with them all the time. So, but there will come a time in the next year where I'm going to have to break away from them. So potentially in 2024, once I have this gym up and running, and Jordan will probably have to come to the front fold and do a little bit extra work while I'm away. I'm hoping to spend maybe 3 or 4 months in New York next year.
Unreal.
So during the last 2 years with the injury, I spent 3 or 4 months over the last 2 years in New York and made great contacts. And there's been no big Irish fighter in New York since John Duddy in 2009. So there's a huge gap in the market. And you know, the Irish people, when they're away from home, especially, they flock to support their own. So in terms of ticket sales, combined with my personality, my communication skills, and me actual fighting, the way I fight, like I'm constantly coming forward, I'm in great fights. We think we can get probably anywhere between 500 and 1,000 tickets sold in the first fight in New York. So if I don't explore that avenue, I'll forever regret it. So although I do have the business here, it's something that it's in me that I have to go and explore. So in 2024, probably around March to May, I'm going to spend 2 or 3 months in New York trying to get a fight or two.
Unbelievable.
Again, once I'm over there, you're going off gut and you're going off trust when who's gonna be a team. Now, I've met a few people when I've been over there last year that I have an idea who I want to coach me and stuff over there.
Yeah. And even just going forward now to, I suppose, that conversation with your current coaches, as you said, there's going to have to be a split. Obviously, they're going to be delighted if you end up support you, but I suppose that will be maybe a kind of tough conversation. Will it, you know, just to say, look, lads, I have to kind of move on a bit.
And we've already had the conversation. Yeah, we've already had it. Yeah,
brilliant.
We've had it. He knows, like, professional boxing in Ireland, its reputation is very low. You're talking in terms of getting sponsorship and stuff, and then the looks of that fight being pulled last week, like, that's a common occurrence in Ireland. So he knows the effort that I'm putting into boxing. Like, I'm struggling financially because I put so much time into boxing, and he understands that I have to go elsewhere to either New York or London to start making a few quid out of this sport. And professional boxing, it's about making money. So we've had the discussion, and he's fully supportive of me because I'm boxing in an amateur club. He's a full-time job on top of what he does. So he couldn't give me the five days a week because he doesn't have that time. Now, in fairness to him, he gives every other second he has to boxing. He's there. He puts a lot more effort in than most of the boxers. So, but he's understanding of the position that I'm in and where I have to go. Because for me, the amateur game for me was always about making it to the Olympics, and finances or personal life or anything that had to take sacrifice for that, I was willing to do it. It didn't bother me. But professional boxing, it's about putting money in the bank. It's
Yeah.
about making a future for yourself. I'm 32. I'm still living at home. I'm not driving at the moment. I gotta start making money to, one, get a deposit off a house, two,
Yeah.
get a nice car. Sort of think about settling down now as well. So I'm at an age where there's other things that's involved that
Yeah.
I can't really sacrifice, which I could sacrifice for the Olympics.
For,
But for me now, it's about basically cementing my future.
yeah, and I suppose life comes at you fairly rapidly, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
I've a kid on the way now. Our first kid is due in December, and that's after focusing me like you wouldn't believe. Like I suppose you'd see my stuff on LinkedIn. So I suppose my business it's new and it's in its infancy, but yeah, when you just kind of look at it going, oh shit, I'm after growing up really quick there. I still feel like 18 or yourself.
yeah, yeah. And similar, like you have the kid, I have the gym now, and it's
Yeah,
like with the gym, your rent has to be paid every month
yeah,
on the first
yeah,
of every month. You better believe the landlord's coming looking for his money. So it's I suppose it gives you that pressure to go and do what you wanted to do and
yeah,
bring in the money, because like you were saying, you have a kid now, you got a mouth to feed, you got to make
yeah.
sure he or she is happy, you got to pay for school, for clothes, all this other stuff. So um and I believe it makes you take a little bit of a chance on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And even when you talked about your time as a plumbing or time plumbing, like I'm
Mm,
a qualified teacher, I love aspects of it, but
mm,
I found wishing time away, like from midterm to midterm. And I remember just thinking, going, where have the last 2 or 3 years gone? Wasn't something really, really happy doing. And
mm.
now I've kind of gone into the whole performance area, but I could definitely relate to that. And just for, I suppose, any parents listening, while we're still kind of on the gym topic, what lessons or attributes could a child develop from picking up boxing?
Yeah, so one thing that we're going to be offering with FightR is we're going to be offering non-contact boxing classes.
Mm,
So the reason for that is I've obviously boxed as a kid, and I I do a little bit of coaching in the club, and I see kids coming in, and there's a serious lack of a volume. So the numbers of coaches, so the coaches are, they're restricted and they're stretched, because there might be two or three of them in a boxing club. There could be 40 or 50 boxers in the club on
yeah,
any given night. So they're sort of stretched in what they can do. So if a kid comes down to a boxing club, that basically they put gloves on them, they throw them into a boxing ring, and it's sink or swim.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's the way it is. And for me, it was swim, and I came back, and I can actually remember crying at me first spar, but I loved it, and I came back. Not every kid is like that, so you're probably gonna lose 80 to 90% of kids that walk into a boxing club, because they're basically thrown into a ring and they're in fight or flight, and
yeah,
they get a very negative outlook on the sport straight away,
yeah,
because that's traumatizing, getting thrown into a club, into a ring with someone you don't know, and they're throwing punches at you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're gonna do non-contact boxing classes. So take kids in, learn them the fundamentals of the sport first, learn them the footwork, the hand positioning, how to move forward, how to move back, have a little bit of fun with the people in the class in a
yeah.
non-contact way. Um,
Brilliant.
and then eventually in 3 or 4 months they can go into the contact stuff. But at least when they get there, they'll actually know how to defend themselves a little bit better, rather than just getting hit in the face. And yeah, you have a more positive outlook on the sport. Um, so that's something that we're trying to offer. But if you're going back to what boxing can do for kids, um, for the ones that stay involved in it, I think obviously I'm biased towards boxing, and you
Mm,
probably get this from most individual sports anyway. It learns you an independence, because what you put into the sport, you get out of it. You don't
yeah,
do the work, you don't get results.
yeah,
You do the work, you have a better chance of getting results. But
yeah,
you mightn't necessarily get results. You
yeah,
translate that into life and adult life, into a job. you graft day in, day out. You go for your job promotion, you don't get it.
Yeah.
But you put yourself in a better position to get it, okay?
Yeah.
And you've learned I suppose, through boxing or through sport that you don't always get what you work for.
Yeah.
That's the way life goes. You can work very, very hard and do everything possible to get it. And just in that time and or whatever happens in life, it doesn't come across. A lot of people the outside of the sport and will throw the hat on it and walk away.
Mm.
I suppose people that have gone through sport, they realise that, okay, it just wasn't the right time. We keep on working harder. Comes to the next job promotion, they might get it. So it does. It learns you a lot of life skills, I think.
Yeah, resilience all would be something that you'd be getting from the kind of that grit and determination. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And like, if you think about it, in boxing, two people in the ring, so one person has to lose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're tasting defeat and you're tasting that negativity very early on in your life, and you learn a lot from it. And what I see in boxing all the time, so people that actually taste defeat in boxing as a kid tend to stay in the sport longer than the kids that win all the time. So
Okay.
what normally happens in boxing is you'll have one or two kids that from age 10 all the way up to 18, they just win all the fights. They're
Mm.
physically stronger than the other kids.
Yeah.
They're more mature. They're mentally more mature, and they take the information in a little bit better. So they've constantly won all the fights all the way up till age 18. Then you go on to age 18 and you're fighting adults.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
fighting 21, 22, 23, all the way up to 40-year-olds. Okay. And they get beaten, but they never tasted defeat before. A lot of these lads and girls walk away from the sport straight away because
Yeah.
they don't know what it's like to taste defeat. But the lads and the girls that have done well as a kid and they're technically very good, but they tasted defeat along the way, they've learned to deal with that bit of resilience,
Yeah.
overcoming adversity, getting a small little dose of negativity and defeat,
Mm.
and they normally tend to stay in the sport until they're in the mid to late 20s because they know what it's like to get beaten. They know what it's like to regroup and go back and put more effort in and come back and get better. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you learn so much life skills from the sport and from any other sport in general. If you're not learning life skills, at the very, very least, you're keeping fit. You're
Yeah.
staying, you're staying, you're staying active. You're socializing with other
Mm.
kids, and we're in a world where you're probably going to see in the next 3 to 4 years, your kid wants this thing, the
Yeah.
iPad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a world where it's so normal for a kid just to sit at home and scroll on
Yeah.
YouTube all day.
Yeah.
At the very, very least, they're interacting with other kids, staying fit together.
Yeah, do you know what? You have a great point. Even from in being in the classroom watching kids, the art of communication, some of them really struggle, especially the younger ones. You'd actually find them, just save your free class, they could be nearly texting each other instead of
Yeah.
talking to each other. Like, it's mad. It's really mad just to see that. So, like, I'll be honest with you, as a future parent, you've sold me on boxing. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and if even like a lot of kids' accents are actually changing a little bit because I listen to YouTube so much.
Yeah, there was I'm involved with a soccer team there now, and one of the girls I taught her, and her brother knows a student that I taught. And we're chatting away about your man anyway, and he's from Cork, but he's an English accent, and I always
Yeah,
thought he's from England. So we were chatting about it, like, but they just, as you said, watching so much YouTube, watching so much
mm,
TV, that the accent just gets kind of picked up. And
yeah,
if I'm a parent, right, and I send my kid to you, and say my son or my daughter was getting bullied, and you want to teach your kids to be able to, I suppose, defend themselves, obviously, and be confident in themselves that they can, I suppose, not fight back, but like be safe, right? If you see a kid, he comes in, you're watching him in training, the fight or flight kicks in, and their natural reaction is the flight, where they just want to, oh, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Can that be something that can be changed over time? Is that kind of just like building confidence, as you said, with the non-contact classes, with the being able to block or to defend yourself, whatever it may be?
Yeah, so that's the whole point of the non-contact classes, because you're going to have kids that have been bullied. You'll probably have kids that have been the bully as well. So
Yeah,
you're going to have an all sort of mix of kids, and the whole non-contact is element has to be fun.
yeah,
So they're forgetting about being afraid. They're forgetting
yeah,
about that fear. They're dropping the barrier. They're
yeah,
releasing who they are, but they're doing it in a fun way. So you'll probably start off with a few games where they don't even realise that they're boxing, or they don't realise that they're doing a little bit of footwork.
yeah,
And then the classes will be short. They'll probably be 40 minutes at the most, because you'll know more than most people. The attention span of kids,
yeah.
it's it's not great. And
No.
then we also have to take into account that when they get bored and if they have boxing gloves on, they could throw a punch at each other.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we have to take into account all that stuff. But we're going to start off with lots of just fun games for maybe 15, 20 minutes, where they're communicating, they're socializing with kids. And as you said, you might have a kid that comes in that was bullied, and he's a little bit fearful coming
Mm.
into our space. We're hoping that the 15, 20-minute games will make him drop his guard and forget about the fear or the trauma that he or she has gone through. And then you add in the learning element after that of, this is how you throw a right hand, this is how you throw a left hand, this is how you defend.
Yeah.
But ultimately what they're all told is, this is a boxing club. None of this happens outside of a boxing club. Because
Brilliant.
I know me through boxing. I've never wanted to fight outside of a boxing club. I fight that much inside a boxing club. The last thing I want to be doing is fighting outside of a
Yeah.
club.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, there's a small percentage of boxers and just people in general that are not good people.
Yeah.
But you'll find that most boxers, the last thing they ever want to do is fight outside of
Yeah.
a boxing club. They're
Yeah.
doing that much of it in a club. So yeah, I do all, and like the boxing it helps the bullies and stops the bullies.
And I think that's so powerful. Like I was bullied in school, and it's something that stayed with me for years.
Mm,
Affected confidence, and like all you have to do is stand up to them once, and it's you're I wouldn't say you're golden, like, but they'll
mm,
know, okay, he can handle himself, or it's not worth it for us to be picking on him. And like from a business point of view, it's a brilliant idea. I love the concept of the non-contact classes, because even from a business point of view, if you can get them engaged, you can keep them involved longer, which is benefit for the business. Just we'll move on back on to the Olympics in a sec, but one more question with the business. Have you plans to maybe to expand outside Dublin? Would that be something, or is it even to expand within Dublin? Long term, obviously.
yeah. So at the moment, I'm from Dublin city centre, so it's a disadvantaged area.
Yeah.
It's a disadvantaged area. There's not a lot of money, so I'll just talk about business plans
Mm,
where we're talking about the kids classes. It's not something that's in stone at the moment, but
mm.
we're trying to work with potential sponsors where we're going to be offering them kids classes for free.
Oh wow.
So yeah, yeah.
Fair
So as I
play.
said, it's a business. I have rent to pay at the end of the month. I've got bills to pay, insurance to pay. So all this stuff does have to be paid. And
Yeah.
while looking at a sponsor, I have a meeting now on Friday with a potential sponsor that's going to be big enough, because I still have to pay coaches to teach the
Yeah.
kids and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. But we're looking at, I don't want to charge kids a tenner a class, but that's what I have to charge to pay me bills at the end of
Mm.
the month. So I've a meeting with a sponsor on Friday to potentially put them classes on for kids for free, or
Wow.
at the very, very least get them subsidized. So that's what we're looking at. Because we're talking about boxing for all. And when I say boxing for all, I mean boxing for the disadvantaged, boxing for the people that's being bullied, boxing for men, boxing for girls, boxing for whoever you are. If
Yeah.
you have a disability, we want this place to be a place where you can still become and be accepted. So, um, that's our ethos, is boxing for all. So we're trying to make it accessible for everyone. Um, and then yeah, we have plans to grow. So right now, obviously, our main focus is making this a successful business in Dublin city centre. But I suppose in the next 2 years we'd want another venue,
Brilliant.
and then that would probably be in Dublin as well, because that's where we're all living.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
potentially, depending how successful this is, this can go huge, because I suppose our framework is coaching. So once you got quality coaching, which we've offered people for the last few months, the spreads.
Yeah.
So we've got a few boxers that have come from the other clubs that I talked about earlier on, that they've been badly coached for so long.
Yeah.
Like it's like night and day when they come to us,
Yeah.
because they're getting proper coaching. And as I said, it's like if I go out onto a rugby pitch, I can teach someone how to throw a ball. I can teach them the basics of how to throw a ball, but I couldn't teach him how to get spin, or what he does after he throws the ball, or his feet position when he throws the ball. Same in a boxing club and the other clubs. They can teach them how to throw a right hand, but they can't teach them the foot movement before, or the defense after, or how to disguise the right hand. So when people come to us, they're like, geez, I haven't been taught like that before. And that's the experience that we bring. So just if the way we think we're going to grow, we'll have the number of locations we could have in the next 10 years could be crazy.
Brilliant. And just to kind of go back, briefly just back to, I suppose, the sporting career, because I'm conscious of your time. I watched the interview you did after your fight in the Olympics. Really, it's really emotional to watch. You can just see how much, I suppose, you cared about it, and obviously carrying your injuries into the fight, which people wouldn't have been aware of at the time. But how did you find the aspect of dealing with it once the Olympics had finished? Was there a kind of an identity issue there? Was there a kind of maybe a purpose issue there after it, or how did you find that experience?
Yeah, so post Olympics, my life went to hell. So I've just built up for the big occasion of the Olympics, and told about the post Olympic slump, but no one was really there to help us post Olympics. So I went back sort of borderline depression, and just not really. I didn't really know how to deal post Olympics, because that big audacious goal that I had for the last 5 years was gone.
Yeah.
I'm now aged 30. The average age of a boxer in the Olympics is 22, I think.
Okay.
So I'm already 8 years past that. Like, do I go for the next Olympics, where I'm going to be 33 and it's going to be a slog to get there, or do I go back? Do I go professional? On top of that, I have the shoulder injury that I just was not recovering from. I ended up having to get a shoulder surgery. So all that led to me drinking a lot, gambling a lot, and then I suppose a mad thing coming up to Saturday, that would have been the day of the fight. I would have been 500 days off alcohol. So
wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Again, not a problem with it. It was filling me full of anxiety, and I didn't have the drive or the purpose to go do anything that I'm doing right now. I suppose the big lesson that I learned from the Olympics was to do a debrief.
Yeah.
Summarize the event that has happened, what went well, what went wrong, what you're going to do forward, and park all the emotions and everything that has happened. Park it off and move on.
Unbelievable.
So that's what I done. That's what I done when the fight got cancelled last week. Sat down with myself for 15 minutes when I got back from training and said, right, fight isn't happening. What can I do about it? Absolutely nothing. What have I put into it? Everything. What have I lost out on? A lot. What can I do going forward about the fight? Absolutely nothing. So parked it off and moved on.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it was a very negative time for about 8-9 months post Olympics. But in terms of life lessons that I've learned, it's been invaluable.
Yeah. And we'll say, what could there be more done to help athletes after the Olympics? Like, what would you say? What would be the the thing that you should be the number one maybe for an athlete coming to the Olympics? Should they approach their, the supports within the Irish team? Is it just something that it should be kind of taught all along, or what are your thoughts on it?
Like, you can't really put it on the athletes to reach out to the support team, because a lot of people, when they're feeling low, aren't going to reach out.
Yeah.
So we know, like, when people are in need of, say, mental health, they don't reach out, and they build things up in their head until they get to a situation where they think there's no way out, or wherever it may be. So if you're waiting on the athlete to reach out to the support team, you're already starting off on the wrong foot.
Okay.
It should be the other way around. The governing bodies should be reaching out to the athletes. I think personally, because I was in that situation, where there was no way that I was going to reach out to the support team.
Yeah.
So, because it's hard to hold your hand up. Now, it's the right thing to do, is to hold your hand up and say, well, I'm not feeling okay.
Yeah.
But if maybe, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks post Olympics, the national governing bodies make it compulsory that an athlete comes in for a talk with, I don't know, the sports psychologist or the coaches or wherever it is, because, or maybe even 3 months after, because for some people it takes a little bit longer for it to kick in. Because I was grand for the first 3 months, because I was going out every weekend drinking, and I thought I was high on life, and everyone wants to buy you a drink, and everyone wants to talk to you, and everyone wants to be around you. But then when the party is over, that's when it starts kicking in that, right, I have to make a life decision on where my life is going to go over the next few months. You put into consideration, there was a serious chance that I had to retire with the shoulder. So the shoulder took me 1.5 years to get right. A lot of people would have probably retired from the sport, because that's a long time, especially at their age. So maybe reaching out to athletes, maybe 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months post Olympics, or maybe having a sports psychology counseling session 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months post Olympics. Would probably be I think that would be a good show. Obviously, you can't make the athletes come in, but if you're offering the service and you're trying to get them in to have a chat, at least you're being proactive rather than waiting them to come to you, because that's probably not going to happen.
And just going forward, again, I read my few interviews that you've done. You've mentioned the titles you want to win. And have you, or do you visualize the time where you get to lift that world title? Do you visualize the days in Madison Square Garden, or kind of what do you see with your future career? Or like, and how do you build that positive bank of images where, look, I see myself, winning that title with it, knocking a fella with an uppercut, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so for me, it's all about the process. So I'm committed to the process of doing all the right things. As I said, 500 days out the drink come this Saturday. The likes of going to bed early, waking up early, trying to stay on top of nutrition, doing the right things day in, day out. Again, what I learned from the Olympics is you can put yourself in the best possible position, but not everything's gonna go the way you want it to go. But for me, I envision fighting in Madison Square Garden. I envision being an Irish champion. Envision being a world champion. I envision it every day, because as a professional, you do a lot of your training on your own. So it's a lonelier sport than the amateur game. So like, especially them times when I'm out my runs and it's quite difficult, it's hard, and you're doing it on your own. So if you cheat and you go a little bit slower, no one's gonna know but you. It's easy to cheat when no one's looking, but you need the integrity to keep going. But that's when I envision being in Madison Square Garden in front of 3,000 or 4,000 Irish people cheering my name, and having an after party back in the pub with my world title. Again, I won't be drinking, but you'll have your Irish clan there with you, and that's what spurs me on. Obviously, I have a bigger vision now with the gym as well. That's obviously that they sponsor me when I'm fighting. So the better I do with my own boxing career, that's going to have a knock-on effect to business as well.
Absolutely.
Business will be booming. Like, as I said, if I get up to a world title, or if I'm fighting in Madison Square Garden, fighters on the back of the short. So
Yeah.
it's going to get broadcasted to a lot more people. But I'm just in a very, very positive mindset at the moment that, like, I'm ready for what's to come. I'm flexible in terms of I mightn't come when I want it. I might have to do a little bit more work, but I'm just in a mindset of, like, life is beautiful. Like, it's if I consider to where I was a year and a half ago, went off to New York for 3 months and I was drinking every day of the week, and I really didn't have this clear vision in front of me because all I wanted to do was drink and party, and now I have this clear vision of fighting in Madison Square Garden, fighting in front of my family, my friends, being an Irish champion, being a world champion, fight our ground day in, day out, having a positive effect on kids in the community. Yeah, I'm in a great space at the moment.
Yeah, and it really comes off, especially the mindset piece. From this interview, and as I said, my previous research, the mindset really just shines through of, I suppose, where you're at, where you're going. And we're nearly done there now, but I do have 1 or 2 more questions. I suppose one is, with business and sport in mind, and I suppose combining the two, what would high performance look like for you kind of going forward as a business owner, but as, or what does it mean for you as a business owner and as an athlete?
So, again, we talked about earlier, the big change. High performance for me is doing the small things right.
Brilliant.
Doing the small things right. As I said, the small things that they don't take much effort, but if you don't do them, sort of taken away from performance. They said getting to training early, having your bag, your gear prepared. 2 seconds and back there. Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, the small things, as I said, high performance for me is just doing the small things right, getting the training early, having your bag prepared, being mentally prepared for training, doing your cool down correctly, eating correctly, getting to bed on time, waking up on time, making your bed, making sure that your bandages for your hands aren't damp or wet that could cause an injury. Same with your gloves, making sure they're not damp, having the right gear for when you're training, having your gum shield. The small little things for me is high performance, because in my experience, they're the things that have the compound interest day in, day out, that have got me up to the highest level in boxing. Boxing the Olympic Games, from literally achieving small little goals every day. If I'm talking about in business, them small little things, getting back to emails, communicating with people, having the gym open up on time, being reliable, making sure no class gets cancelled, having a good relationship with your clients, with your employees, making sure the employees are interacting with the members of the gym. Just small little things. Like, people think high performance and they think of, first thing that probably come to mind is Cristiano Ronaldo and the flamboyant character that he is. But high performance, he's the first person in training. He's staying back, he's kicking free kicks, he's making sure he has the right gear with him, he's making sure he eats correctly, he sleeps correctly, he does his warm up correctly, he's in with a sports psychologist, he's in with his physios. The small little things that add him to being one of the best footballers that has ever lived. He would not get there without doing all the little small habits.
And I suppose, do you know what? I think that's a perfect way to end it, is in, because my actual question was, what routines do you have? But you just said it all there. I suppose elite level mindset, it's as you said, doing the consistent things, doing the right things and doing them consistently. Emmet, I wish you absolutely the very best with your business, the very best with your next fight. You've obviously won your first fight, which was up in Belfast. I look forward to following you down the line. I will ask you one favour: when you are world champion, that we can get you back on the podcast again.
100%. Thanks for having me.
No, Emmet, thanks so much.